What if the chaos and uncertainty in today's headlines are actually shadows pointing us towards God's ultimate plan and hope? Steve, what's one practical spiritual step you recommend for someone feeling anxious or distant from God as they watch all these world events unfold?
I would say that's an excellent question for now because, quite frankly, there are a lot of headlines in the news that give us reason to worry. Even though we see talk about peace taking place today, I would say one very real example of how difficult it is to bring peace is we look at an organization like the United Nations and we say, how is it that the United Nations, which was designed to bring unity between the nations of the world, has not been able to stop the war between Russia and Ukraine for 3 years?
Mhm.
It shows how powerless man is to stop evil. When evil proliferates, it will get out of hand. And
Mhm.
scripture does talk about how evil will get worse and worse toward the end time. So we do have reason to be concerned, but we don't have reason to be afraid.
Mhm.
Uh, in First Peter, we're told that cast our anxiety upon God, put our anxieties in his hand because he's in control. We know he's in control. I would say, here are some of the things that we can do to take comfort and have hope in the midst of all the chaos that's happening today.
Mhm.
First is to remember that God is sovereign. He's in control. No matter how out of control the world gets, he's still in control. Nothing is happening that takes God by surprise. Nothing is happening that is outside of God's plan. God is actually allowing all these things to happen for his reasons. We might not be able to discern those purposes, but he knows them, and he has his hand on the steering wheel, so to speak, to make sure that things go according to his plan. But then
Mhm.
some other things that we can keep in mind that gives us peace and assurance is to keep our eyes on God's promises about our future. What has God promised in our future? And it's an amazing future that he's planned for us. Our bodies are going to be changed from mortal to immortal. We're going to go from corrupt to incorrupt. There's coming a day when there will be no more tears, no more sorrow, no more suffering, no more pain. Death will be no more. We're going to live in a kingdom that is ruled by Christ, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Human governments, we cannot trust them to always be fair, to always make the right decisions, but Christ will always be fair and Christ will always make the right decision. So we have a wonderful kingdom we're going to live in someday. There will be a new heavens and a new earth. Sin will be gone. We will no longer suffer from the afflictions of sin.